There is abundance in a universe, and we all have the ability to tap into our deepest dreams. You can learn and grow at your own speed, and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Why do we wait until tomorrow when we could do it today? Step out of your comfort zone and take a leap of faith. You can learn and grow at your own speed, and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Bedrock bookkeepers rock it from their home. Bedrock bookkeepers make it on their own. Bedrock bookkeepers living in the zone. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family.
Magandang araw po sa lahat. Ako si Malona, and I working as an online accountant and bookkeeper for almost 2 years. I was part of the batch 2 of the 13-week course for accountants and tax preparers. So that was around August last year. And then I have this client which I got from Upwork. The client has a huge problem on her books. So I think of Bedrock. I think of Joe because I know very well that Joe is really genuine, sincere in helping small business owners in the US. So what I did is I told my client to book a call with Joe so that she can directly communicate with Joe and mention about her business, not only cleaning up her books, but Joe can also help her in organizing her financials. For me, Bedrock Partnership Program, in one word, it's more on learning. Since I am part of the partnership program, so I learn a lot from Joe directly because we are working on the same client. So working with Joe means lots of learnings about US accounting, about US taxation. So it's learning. from August up to now, I continue to learn so many things from Joe because we are working on the same books. So that means that I learn so many practical things from him. So that's actually one of the precious and most valuable thing that I benefit from Bedrock. I can't believe actually that Joe is mentioning to me that, okay, Malona, let us have a call. So I told myself, what? A free call with him around 30 minutes, 1 hour, or more than 1 hour. So imagine, saan ka makakita ng US accountant na magbibigay sa'yo ng ganun kahabang oras, tapos ganun ka-valuable, yung pinagkukwentuhan nyo, ganun ka-valuable, yung tinuturo niya sa'yo. That is the most precious and valuable thing that I learned from Joe. Humility, and at the same time, the learnings that no one can ever get that from me. You have to get this chance to be partner of Bedrock because not only the monetary amount that we receive from affiliate fees, but also the learnings that we can get being a Bedrock partner. So that is my message to all the online accountants and bookkeepers or students of Bedrock. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, especially Joe, for an incredible US payroll masterclass. What stood out to me wasn't just a technical know how, but Joe's real life insights and advice. It's been both motivating and inspiring, truly a game changer for me. His experiences actually brought the lessons to life, making the complex seem simple. So, cheers to what we've learned and to where we're headed, armed with knowledge and inspiration. Thank you.
I'm so happy. I'm grateful to be part of this masterclass. I'm grateful for the Bedrock team and especially to Joe for supporting us Filipinos to undergo this kind of training and giving us this opportunity. This is a this is a big deal for me because I'm already I'm employed for how many years already, and I want to pursue what my passion is. And doing this, I try to make this payroll as a great niche for me, and to discover this great opportunity, also explore. Thank you so much, Bedrock, and I know this is a lifetime support from you. Thank you so much, Joe.
I've enrolled in tax preparation before, so I was there at the second jump start, and I think Joe and the Bedrock team, I have learned a lot, and I was recently hired as an email assistant in an accounting firm. So I was the assistant of the owner of the accounting team, and I encountered payroll questions, and here in the payroll course, the information provided was incredibly helpful. I learned a lot, and I thank everyone for that.
First of all, I am so pleasure to be part of Bedrock. I didn't expect that I would be able to finish it because of the time. That is the most that's the most thing that hinder me to finish everything. But thank you very much for Miss Eileen for helping me to pursue it. And I do believe in Bedrock, I learn more and upscale my knowledge. Although I've been doing accounting since I graduated here in the Philippines, I believe that having learning a new knowledge, especially from other countries, is a big opportunity for me. So um, I'm doing this not because I would like to earn more. Uh, presently I am comfortable already, and but I know I know that if I learn something, I will gain more.
I'm undergraduate college student, and my course is accountancy. I have frustration because here in the Philippines, when you are not graduate, you don't have chance to work in an accounting firm. So my frustration when I watched the video about the tax agent when I joined in the accounting people's group, I said uh I said to myself that I can do it even though I'm not graduate in accounting. I can improve myself po kahit even though po na hindi ako graduate ng accounting here in the Philippines. And I said to myself po na kaya ko to kahit na international yung accounting na pag-aaralan ko. Then when I was in college, kasi I know nung time na yun na hindi ako makaka-graduate because of financial. Then tumatak sa isip ko na okay, meron pang pag-asa, not here in the Philippines. But kahit nandito ako sa Philippines, I can work in US, I said to myself. Then, noon, I always checking my online job. Nag-rate ako online job way back 2014 na sa platform na yun. But hindi ako nag-apply kasi I know na I'm not yet skilled. And then, nung sabi ko, I always praying na, Lord, kapag nagka-family ako, okay lang po ba na I can work from home kasi I don't want to raise my child ng malayo sa kanya. And then, after ko manganak, I got job na tumulong sa akin yung best friend ko nung college na naipasok niya ako sa international accounting din siya, but through her po, tinanggap ako kahit hindi ako graduate. And then, sabi ko, ito na yung start na pwede ko na i-upskill yung sarili ko. And then, I tried din po na mag-apply online job na kasi meron na akong konting confidence na mag-bookkeeping. And then, nakakuha ako, nagulat ako kasi ang mga nakikita kong testimony sa Facebook na more months or years sila bago sila nakakuha ng client. Then nagulat po ako, nakuha ko months pa lang. And nung time na yun, struggling din po ako pero nakuha ko yung client na yun. Then sobrang thankful ko sobrang tinreasure ko yung client na yun kahit low rate lang siya kasi gusto ko talaga magkaroon ng experience. Then sabi ko, meron na akong budget to enroll. Akala ko hindi ko siya makakompleto kasi dumating yung year end doon kung saan ako nag-work. Sobrang tight ng schedule. Sobrang hindi ko alam kung yung pagod ko kasi syempre puyatan sa work tapos meron pa tayong training. Yun nga, nana ko pa rin na makahabol ako sa mga assignments kahit na late na yung mga iba kong submit. Then yun, thankful ako nung last na video call with Miss Ice, sinabi niya sa akin na pwede pang makahabol nga yung kay Miss Juliet. Hindi ako nawalan ng pag-asa nung sabi ko makaka-graduate din ako dito. Then ayun nga, na nakasama ako sa graduation. Thank you. Thanks Joe for your courses. Sobrang helpful po talaga para sa amin na gusto mag-upskills and sa mga beginners po na katulad po. Thank you very much, Joe. And for the team po.
Hi, I joined the Bedrock because of the opportunity and because I'm a nurse and a pharmacist. I really don't have an accounting background. I just took bookkeeping. And then when I saw that Bedrock is offering to become a tax preparer, I've been searching on another platform where others took their certificate from Bedrock. So I googled it, and then
2 days before the start of the class, I joined immediately without thinking because I want to earn and I want to learn more. And this is an opportunity for me, and I am actually looking forward to learn more from Bedrock. So I will be enrolling into other courses because I also want to be a part of Bedrock.
I just want to express my deepest gratitude to Bedrock team for the knowledge, for the guidance and support you have provided us throughout the payroll course. Um, as someone who has no background in accounting, I really had a hard time, but the way you made the topics accessible and engaging, and you always ensure that we understood the material thoroughly. The knowledge that I've gained from this course is not only theoretical but also practical. I am especially thankful for your patience and encouragement, Joe, which have motivated me to strive for excellence.
This course is not a walk in the park. It needs true dedication and the resolve to finish it and see it through. So I had to muster all courage. And it is a milestone, and I am very proud of what we have accomplished. It's not really easy, but you can see that before I thought that I will not be able to do this. I thought this is a very hard work. I thank Joe for opening this opportunity to us Filipinos. All of us will become successful, of course, with God's help, and I congratulate you all also.
I just want to thank you, Joe, and everyone. So thank you so much for the opportunity, the hustle while doing it, the researching, the headache while we plot the Excel file, the Google sheet. It was all worth it, knowing that I got the certification and I also graduated in this batch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the tax course, the upcoming tax course. Yeah, more headaches and more struggles to come. Thank you so much, guys.
One of the things I've learned is to be resourceful and be confident. Even if you don't know, research and ask questions. Thank you for Joe and the Bedrock team for really opening this course to us. It's a great opportunity for us to learn and get like a hands-on experience to do payroll tasks in a US setting.
Sa Del Monte Spaghetti, birthday mas happy.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important endeavor. We ask that you bestow your guidance and blessing upon each attendant. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. Bless everyone present today, and that each may be able to share his or her contributions and gifts. Grant good health and safety to loved ones left outside this room, and bestow peace and goodwill to all of us. We ask for your wisdom and grace to use our talents for the betterment of others. May the various activities related to this day be a success through your intervention. With gratitude, we offer this prayer in your name. Amen.
Wow, how exciting. Over 50 attendees already, including me, Marianne and Eileen, and whoever else is from my team. Hello, Geraldine. I see you smiling there. We got a lot to cover tonight. Uh, it's really amazing for me what's going on in the accounting industry, particularly in the US. That's what I talk about. I know about business and accounting and how to crack the US market, but there's opportunities all over the world, including the Philippines, believe it or not. We have some students uh, and people that we know, and when I say me, I mean our tribe, our team, people like Marianne. Uh, there's no stopping you from being successful in your own market here. Okay, I want to make that clear. The thing is, I'm an entrepreneur and I follow the opportunities. I follow the money. And there's no greater opportunity that I could think of than in the United States. And it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better for people like us, uh, because it's unfortunately for the people that we serve, it's only going to get harder and more complicated. And the government, my government, the US government, is going to be putting a lot more pressure on the people that we serve, the small business owners. So, I want to thank you and congratulate all of you for participating, not only in what we at Bedrock provide, but the other people, Shari Pineda, Marianne, uh, Jack Cantos, there's a whole slew of leaders that are guiding Philippine accountants towards success. Do you agree, Marianne? Coach Yan Yan, you want to say hi?
Yes, I do. Good evening. Yes, I do.
Yeah, and you were one of the first people that I ran into that were I saw actively trying to help Philippine accountants. And I want to thank you because uh, if it weren't for you, I don't believe we wouldn't have started doing classes, and I wouldn't have met a lot of the people that I met. And I want to mention probably a lot of you in the class tonight were participants in Marianne's meeting this morning with an individual. What's his name again, Marianne?
What the speaker earlier?
Yeah, yeah.
Nick Sinclair.
Nick Sinclair. I don't. Yeah, his. But if you don't know who he is, you should, because he's got one of the largest, probably in the world, one of the largest uh, outsourcing businesses. What did he say, Marion? I think he has 4,000 people.
4,000 people all over the Philippines, including Pampanga and Cebu. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big operation. And he's one of the people, he's way ahead of the curve. And he repeated a lot of things that I felt for a long time and that I've experienced since I started working with accountants in the Philippines, not just accountants, but our marketing team, our admin, and what it comes down to is the culture. The Philippine culture is extremely aligned with what the American business owners need right now. Okay. There's a history. I don't have to go into it, but going back, a century, where the American people were literally uh, in control of the Philippine government until You got your independence. So a lot of what you do now mirrors what, and you know, Nick actually hit the nail on the head. Uh, what we used to do in the United States, okay? The family orientation, uh, the commitment to a higher power, uh, and the work ethic. And Nick said it, and I've been saying it, and I said, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but we've gotten lazy. American people have gotten lazy. They stopped learning, okay? And there's a lot of reasons for that. We don't have to get into it. But because of what's going on in the United States, what hasn't happened in the Philippines yet, which is the adoption of working from home, is what I like to call the perfect storm of opportunity. And it's open for all of you. It's open for all of you. You see my background here. It's jumpstart your freelance accounting career, and I'm committed to that. It just started as a you know, and Nick even said this morning. He said everything that he's doing wasn't his idea. It just was a series of events that led him to where he is today. And it's the same thing with me and with the Jumpstart community. And before the end of tonight, I'm going to share with you some of the exciting things that we have planned and are actually doing right now for all of you in the Jumpstart community. But Nick also, well, he made a point, and I will continue to remind all of you that part of the reason, a big part of the reason why the Philippine culture meshes so well with the American entrepreneur is the fact that you can communicate. And what he said was the way that you write and speak English is the way that Americans write and speak English. Other countries might speak English, but their words don't always have the same meanings. And that causes communication problems. And I know from you know, I think I'm going on 2 years now teaching students and constantly asking questions like, okay, what's stopping you from, you know, trying to get to book a job interview? What's stopping you? Besides just the fear of doing something new and different. And almost 100% of the time, it's I don't speak English well enough. And that is so untrue. And Nick just today, he just, you know, confirmed what I've been saying. It's a self-defeating mindset. And unless you get over that, you're not going to be able to crack the US market. And everything that I teach you about trying to get, not trying, but getting US clients, whether it's a remote job with an accounting firm or getting, God forbid, getting your own clients, uh, you're not going to be able to do it. You're just not going to be able to do it. You got to master the communication part of this business. And that is what sets us apart from the AI. Okay. I'm on top of AI now, and we use it as a tool to do our jobs better. And I could see the accounting firms, just like when I saw QuickBooks come into reality, accounting firms were terrified of QuickBooks, literally terrified of it, almost to the point where they refused to acknowledge that it even existed. Even though their clients were going out there and buying it and using it, it took them about 5 years before they surrendered. In the meantime, I built a pretty successful business just on teaching people how to use QuickBooks. And guess what? It didn't replace accountants, because the bottom line is human beings want to talk to other human beings. Computers cannot do that. So just like, and I was around before they even had computers. And when computers came on the scene, and software like it was Lotus, and then it became Excel, and then you had, uh, tax programs, and all of this change, just like we're having now. And it was always the same thing. Oh my God, this thing is going to replace us. It hasn't replaced us in 3 decades since it started happening. And AI is not going to replace us either. As long as you remember, it comes down to the relationship, the human interaction, and the only way that happens is to communicate. So I know Marianne teaches this. I don't really teach it. I just talk about it. Things like optimizing your LinkedIn profile. Uh, Marianne became famous on LinkedIn by showing people how to do a Loom video, right? Am I right, Marianne?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, so that video got you in the top 100 Philippine people on LinkedIn. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I could teach you taxes, I could teach you, okay, I could teach you a lot of different things. Okay. None of it is going to matter unless you get a hold of the communication part of this business. Because when it comes down to it, people, we're in a service business. We serve people. We solve problems. Does that make sense to everyone? So here's what I'm going to do. I learned a trick from Marianne. If it makes sense, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If it doesn't make sense, uh, put a 9. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 1s in there. Okay. Now the next question is this. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to put that stuff in, and then we're going to talk about the topic for tonight. Okay, the 1s are still coming in. Okay, I'm going to take your word for it that it makes sense to you. The next question is, are you going to spend some time, are you going to invest some time in yourself and learn the communication part of this business? Give me a 2. If you are going to invest something, and that means doing what Larry Bratton calls the soft skills. There's the hard skills where we learn how to do QuickBooks, how to do taxes, the technical part of this business. And you need that stuff. You definitely need it, because if you can't do a bank rec, you're not going to be able to be an accountant. The soft skills are things like what Jack Cantos shared with us on Saturday about communicating with our clients. The things that Cap Hernandez shared with us. So there's more to this business than technical skills. So you got to ask yourself, do you really want to be successful? Or do you just want to take another bookkeeping course and learn how to do? Because we could become what we call in America seminar and course junkies. You just keep taking courses and seminars, thinking that after I learn this, then I can do something with it. The truth is, if you're here, you already have everything you need to start your freelance career. And if you're already in your freelance career, or you already have your own agency, you already have everything you need to take the next step. And whatever that next step is, depends on where you are right now. So Jumpstart is for people that have absolutely no experience. They don't even know how to do bookkeeping, but they want to get into the accounting field. Okay, it's for you if you're one of those people. It's also for people that have been in the accounting field or in corporate America, or I mean, the corporate world in the Philippines, like a couple of our full-time team members. Eileen was a bank manager, and Luz helped run a supply business. They weren't in the accounting business. Rona and Agnes on our team were full-time controllers. They were like CFOs. And they decided, you know what, I want to get into the freelance accounting business. So it's for those people. It's also for people that are already working remotely and want to take that work from home to another level and start getting your own clients and becoming a freelancer. Because there's a difference between remote work and freelancing. Remote working is when you have a position with a firm, like our team members do. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. Okay. It's also for people like Juliet. I see you there, Juliet. Thank you. Thank you. And probably Marielle if she's here, because I know that they already have their own successful agencies in the Philippines. So how is Jumpstart going to help them? Well, we talk about the tools of accounting, how to scale your business, and like I said, how to get into the US market. How to get into the US market. And like my coach Larry Broughton said, the American people have the money. Even if they're broke, even if they have no cash, because American people can borrow money and they do it all the time. It's a different culture, it's a different mindset. In fact, in America, if you don't have credit and you're not using credit, you're stuck. You can't buy a house. It's hard to buy a car. So that's what our culture, it's different than here. I'm not saying it's right, but that's just the way it is. The last thing I want to mention that Nick brought up that I wasn't even cognizant of is the fact that no matter how much experience or credentials Philippine people have, they still are willing to start from scratch. you still want to learn the basics. Most of the world don't want that. They look at that as a step down. But really, it's not. It's not, because they're at a disadvantage. And the way Nick explained it is, you can't tell somebody you're a CFO if all you've ever done is bookkeeping. You can't lie in accounting. You can try, but you're going to be vetted very, very quickly. Okay. So that's my pep talk for all of you. Uh, Again, thank you all for showing up. And I hope that you leave tonight with some more optimism and actionable steps that you could take to jumpstart your own freelance accounting career. All right, is everybody ready to start? I'll take that as a yes. So the way we're going to do this, I have a slideshow. It seems like nobody can do anything without a slideshow. And then we're going to do some deep dive, like every other webinar and workshop that I do, we will have Q&A after. So, and if you're brave enough, if you have a question or a comment, put it in the chat, and one of my team members, and I know that they're here. Hello, Eileen. And again, I want to thank my team members because without them, this just doesn't happen. Believe it or not, I can't do slideshows like this. It's almost like I just show up and the slideshows appear, and then I just have to talk about it. So first, let me share my screen so you know exactly what I'm looking at. Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about unlocking the opportunities of becoming a CFO for Philippine accountants. Now, like I said, I focus on the US market, but that doesn't mean you can't take this info and become a CFO for a Philippine company or an Australian company or a Canadian company, because uh, the accounting part of this is going to be the same. It's going to be this, I mean, a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement and KPIs are going to be the same. I don't care if you're in China or America. They're numbers. A lot of the things won't be the same. For instance, trying to get financing for a business. There's methods and approaches in America that are going to be different than other countries. And again, I don't know other countries. I know the United States. So if you were in my overview of the CPA, becoming a US CPA, a lot of these slides are going to be very, very similar. And the reason is that it's simple. They're very similar. I mean, so if you have a CPA license, you're more than qualified to become a CFO. So if you're seeing, things that are similar, it's because they are similar. There's a lot of overlap, but there's also a lot of things that a CFO does that a CPA may not necessarily do. For instance, I could be a CFO I've sort of been a fractional CFO for companies, but I've never been a real full-time CFO. Like Agnes was, like Rona was, they were in charge of the whole company from soup to nuts. I've always been like an outside CFO. So a lot of the things that a CFO does, I've never done for the simple reason that I haven't had to. I haven't had to because I work specifically with micro businesses. Most of our clients are single owner entities, and they have all to do to upload their bank statements for us. Okay, they're not interested so much in ratios and KPIs and stuff like that. But let's go into the content of what we had. So there are global opportunities. Okay, and like I said, it's not limited it's not limited to any country. And here's another thing. I mentioned fractional CFO. So you could actually be a CFO for several companies. Think about that. So now you can have more flexibility because none of those clients are going to expect you to be clocking in, be, like a 9 to 5 type of CFO. You can have several CFO clients. You could even have several CFO clients on different continents. So the opportunities are really limitless. Let's talk about what a CFO actually is and why this is important. What a CFO does is deep dives into all of the financial aspects of a business, from creating and monitoring the accounting systems to making sure that the company is in compliance with all the tax laws, licenses and permits, make sure that the human resources side of the business is taken care of. Because if any issue comes up that's financial, it falls back to the CFO. So the CFO is really creating checks and balances from making sure the bank recs are accurate. And when I say accurate, I could tell you this: when I get a new client and they tell me their books are up to date, and I look at a bank rec and I see checks that are outstanding for years and deposits that never cleared the bank account, that's not a bank rec. That serves no purpose at all. So a CFO is going to make sure that all of the financial information is not only up to date, but as close to 100% accurate. A couple of decades ago, Apple Computer, one of the biggest companies on the planet, almost went bankrupt. They were 90 days away from running out of cash. Now think about this. This is a huge company based all over the world, thousands of employees, billions of dollars in sales, and they knew that in 90 days they were going to run out of cash. That amazes me. That amazes me because a single owner entity doesn't have enough information about their business to even know that kind of info. They just simply don't know. They should know because if you don't have cash in a business, you're done. You know, there's a saying, cash is king, right? Apple Computer knew that they were going to run out of cash. And that fact always stuck with me. And believe it or not, the person that bailed him out was Bill Gates. He invested about $250 million into Apple because he didn't want them to go bankrupt. It wasn't in his interest. Think about that. He's Microsoft and he didn't want Apple to go out of business. And I'm sure he got a good return on his investment. But that's what a CFO does. Okay. In the end, they're managing the cash. And the way to know that is you got to have a handle on sales, on marketing. You have to have a budget. You have to do cash flow projections. Okay. You really have to know your numbers. So, benefits of becoming a CFO. Now, let me clue you in on something. I don't do any workshops or courses just because I thought it was a good idea. What I do is I listen to people. I hear what people are saying. I look for clues on what can I offer the Philippine community that's going to be of value. And Marianne helps me a lot with this. Okay, we do surveys and we look at, you know, what kind of positions are people interested in? And a lot of them are interested in learning how to become a CFO. And there's a good reason for that. It has to do with money. Because if you go on onlinejobs.ph, if you go on LinkedIn, if you go on Upworks, and you look at how much does an accountant make compared to how much does a CFO make, there's no comparison. A CFO will make, I don't know how much more, but they're going to command a much higher salary than just a typical accountant. And now let me clue you in on something else. Probably most of you have enough experience to become a CFO. You probably just never looked at yourself that way. You probably never said, you know what? Maybe I should apply for the CFO position. But maybe you didn't because of those limiting beliefs. Maybe you didn't apply for it because you said, oh, my qualifications don't fit with this job. Well, Luz's qualifications didn't fit with the job. That didn't stop her. If you're not applying for positions as a CFO and you have the experience, you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short. What I believe is that when you go out there and you shoot for something, you shoot for the moon. And if you don't make it to the moon, maybe you'll make it to high up in the atmosphere. Okay. You aim high. You aim high. And if you fall short, at least you could tell yourself, I tried. I went for it. And maybe a miracle happens. Maybe somebody sees something in you, like I saw in Eileen and I saw in Luz, and they'll give you a chance. They'll give you a chance. Because if you're an accountant and you have years of experience, learning the technical part of what a CFO does is going to be easy. It's going to be easy for you. I'm not saying it's going to be simple, but you already have the capacity. I haven't met one person yet, not one of my students didn't have the desire to learn. Every one of them were there because they wanted to learn. They wanted to upskill. Okay. So CFOs start at a much higher salary than an accountant. Now think about this. You might apply for an accounting position and wind up being a CFO. But then you're getting paid at an accountant's level when you should be getting paid at a CFO level. CFOs a lot of times get bonuses based on performance. So when the company does good, the CFO gets rewarded. CFO is a key position in a business. Okay. If the business is doing well, you're gonna know it. You're gonna know it. Okay. CFOs also get offered stock options, they get offered retirement bonuses. Because if you play your cards right and you become a CFO, you make yourself indisposable. You make yourself irreplaceable. I hope this makes sense to everybody. As a CFO, you're recognized globally, not just in the Philippines. You know, a lot of you or many of you may be CPAs in the Philippines. Okay. The fact is, you're a CPA, not just in the Philippines. Being a CPA still means something in the US community. Believe it or not, okay, so in the US, a CPA is allowed to audit financial statements. I don't audit financial statements. I have to have a special, there's a special requirement. I would have to have a CPA firm come and review my financial reports. I don't do that kind of work. The truth is the work that I do, I could have been an enrolled agent because what I use my CPA license for is to communicate directly with the IRS. The IRS is only going to deal with a lawyer, a CPA, or an enrolled agent. So I didn't even need to be a CPA. Okay, so if you're a CPA and you get a position as a CFO, what you've just done is increased your earnings capacity. So let me give it to you in dollars comparison. So what I know is a CPA, a US CPA that gets a position with one of the big four accounting firms who are hurting. They are hurting for new talent. There's not enough CPAs in the US applying for positions with those firms. The starting salary with one of the big four is $60,000 a year. I think that translates into over 3 million pesos a year. A CFO, you could add 50% to that. Even if you're based in the Philippines, Nick this morning talked about, how much can you charge? Because there's freelancers out there thinking that they're going to get what US accountants get. And that's just not practical. It's not practical because the cost of living in the US is at least 5 times more than it is in the Philippines. Okay. 90,000 in the US is about middle class. You're not buying a big house, you're not I mean, it's okay. It's a good salary. If you're making 90,000 in the Philippines, I would say that you're pretty well off. So if you go out and you get your CPA license and get a position with a big accounting firm and you start at 60,000, you know what happens with clients, with CPAs that work at those big firms? They usually get recruited by their clients and become the business's CFOs. That's what happened to my cousin. My cousin Vinny was my first mentor. He worked for a couple of years at a big firm. At that time, it was one of the big 8. There were 8 big accounting firms. And he got recruited by one of his clients. It happens all the time. They actually steal the talent from the firms. Okay. Like I said, it's going to expand what you do and where you do it. And think about this. If you ever wanted to travel to other countries, how about if you got a job where they're going to pay for your travel? Okay. That's the kind of positions that CFOs get. As a Philippine person living in a country with it's a low cost of living here compared to other places, you're at a competitive advantage. Big competitive advantage. And I would say it's almost unfair. Okay, if there wasn't such a big shortage of accountants in the US and we had to compete with Filipino, we would lose. We would lose. But you have a competitive advantage because, and Nick even said it, and I'm talking to other accountants. I talked to an accountant yesterday because we're starting a similar business as Nick. We're going to be doing BPO services where we're outsourcing accountants to US firms. And I talked to a CPA yesterday with a pretty large practice. And he said what I already know. He said, it's hard to get people that are willing to work for a reasonable salary. He said these kids out of college, they want to start at 100,000 a year. And that's just it's not feasible for him to pay somebody that and stay in business. What he does is he gets college kids and he teaches them bookkeeping. And then when they graduate, he offers them a position. That's how he's getting, staying in business. High demand. In the United States, there's big companies, big public companies that haven't been able to produce their quarterly reports because they don't have enough accountants. When you're a public company, you have to issue quarterly reports. Imagine what happens to their stocks when they don't issue a report. It doesn't look good for the company. Doesn't look good for the company. Now, those are big public companies, but there's millions of small companies that are having the same problems. So I get emails from LinkedIn all the time about job opportunities. I must have subscribed to something on there, but they're offering like ridiculous salaries for CFOs, 200,000 for even remote working. It wasn't like that 10 years ago. You couldn't get a job for 200,000. That was unheard of. But they're stuck. They're stuck because there's just a shortage of talent, and unless they raise not only the salaries but the benefits, the perks, they're just not attracting the people. Now, let's talk about numbers, because I know a lot of people, they're taking Australian bookkeeping or Canadian taxes. I just want to put things in perspective. Imagine, I know there's a lot of fishermen in the Philippines. Okay, there's actually, I just read a story about people that live on the water in a couple of countries, Malaysia, and I forget what other ones, but the Philippines was one of them. And I think Aaron, when we visited, what was that, the Enchanted River, we saw those houses that were like literally on the water. And so what those people do, they live off the sea, and they actually fish. They'll fish on the bottom of the ocean. Anyway, the thing about fishing, okay, where would you rather have your house? In a part of the ocean where there's 33 million fish, or where there's 2 million fish? Now, if I got to feed my family, I'm going where the 33 million are. So again, Nick and Marianne, I don't know if you're going to share, if you had the recording. If you're going to share it, I would encourage everyone to watch the recording, because Nick had a lot of nuggets that he shared in a short period of time. He only spoke for about 25 minutes, but he shared a lot. And he taught, because he's from Australia, and that's where he started, and it made sense for him to hire people in the Philippines because it was the same time zone. It was the same time zone. But he's all over the world now. He goes wherever the opportunities are. And if you look at these numbers, there's no bigger opportunities than in the United States, hands down. And the numbers are just going up. They're projecting that business, this 33 million, when I started Bedrock, it was 30 million. And that was less than 5 years ago. So it went up 10% in less than 5 years. Because COVID had a lot to do with that. Just like a lot of you, COVID forced people to work from home, and they said, you know what? I like being at home. I like being able to pick up my kids from school. I like the flexibility. 4 million people didn't go back to work in the US. 4 million. And a lot of them are starting businesses, e-commerce business, gig businesses. It doesn't matter. They're just going into business like they never did before. Now, I talked a little bit about travel. Okay. Some people, some of you, and I know I don't want to name any names, but some of you want to go to the United States and have had issues. And I'll tell you why. In the United States, we have a big illegal immigration problem. People come from all over the world and they don't leave. They don't leave because they get free health care, they get help with food, they get help with rent. So in a lot of countries where they're poor, they're a lot better off being poor in the United States. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them, but they're coming in, most of them come in illegally, but it doesn't matter. They still get the same benefit, and it's a big problem in the United States. It's a big problem. So when somebody from another country wants to go there legally, they put up roadblocks. They put up roadblocks. Okay. When you're a CFO for a company, those are gone. Those are gone because now you get a company that's going to sponsor you and you could actually get a green card. I have a client that was from South Africa and he was actually working for Twitter. He was a consultant for Twitter. Now it's called X. And they hired him full time. He got a green card. He actually works with Elon Musk. Okay. I was joking with him. I'm like, oh, say hi to Elon for me. He's like, oh, we don't get to interact with him that much. I was like, well, ask him if he's looking for another accountant. I'm available. But think about that. When you have a position with the firm, you can, the sky's the limit. That's what I'm saying here. Anything is possible if you believe it is. I know Agnes with our firm. She worked in several different industries. Okay, so you could, it's portable. It's like you could be a CFO for a construction supply company and then go and be a CFO for a health services agency. I mean, different industries are going to have different types of needs, but it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. So here's the bottom line. When you're a CFO, you write your own ticket. And it's a lot more, let's say, you have a lot more opportunities than if you're just a CPA. And I don't mean just a CPA, but here's the thing. And I think I have a slide on it. Yeah, in the next slide. But as a CFO, okay, and this goes with the territory, you have no choice but to continue to grow. Personal development. And I know that a lot of you love that. Okay. You're like, what do they call it? You're just constantly upskilling. I believe that a lot of you are upskilling on the hard skills, but you need to start focusing on the soft skills, and that means leadership. Okay, you need, and I used to think that leaders are born. Some are. Somebody like Larry Broughton, the guy was always in charge. He was always the captain of whatever team he was on. He was always, some people are just like that. Most leaders learn how to become leaders. They learn how to manage people. They learn the psychology. They learn how to listen. Okay. So when you're a CFO, it's never ending personal growth. And if you get in a position like that, I can't tell you what kind of satisfaction you get. The satisfaction of knowing that you helped other people succeed, because that's really your job. Okay. It's not so much numbers crunching, but it's looking at your team and developing the next leader. So that's a pretty cool job. When your job is to teach somebody how to grow and learn, you can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on that. Now, these are some of the credentials that CFOs have, not just CPA. You could be a certified management accountant. I know that Catherine on our team is a CPA, and I think she's a CFP. I know she's a certified financial planner. I don't know if it's the same thing in the US, but she's got two different designations. Some people have an MBA. So you don't have to have a CPA certificate, and getting an MBA, if you already have a 4-year degree, that's another, I think, 24 credits. That's another, year of college. And what they would look for, so, looking at, what the job postings, some of them say, MBA in financial analysis, stuff like that. So you don't have to be a CPA, okay? The truth is, the designations are valuable. Don't get me wrong, okay? But if you could actually start at a company as an accountant and work your way up to be a CFO without the designations. My CPA certificate is valuable. People look at, oh, he's a CPA, but I've seen CPAs that are terrible. They don't know the first thing about taxes. They don't know the first thing about registering a business. So I'm like, what good is that CPA license? You don't know anything about your business. And I've met other accountants that had no designation, but I would hire them in a spot. Okay. Right now, because of technology, because of COVID, believe it or not, because of all the knowledge and courses out there that are at your fingertips, you have more opportunities now than ever to become a CFO. If you want to become a CFO, there's nothing that's going to stop you. The only thing that's going to stop you is you. Larry, again, I talk about Larry a lot because what he says is true, and it's not just because he says it, it's because he's lived it, and I've seen him in action. The most negative person in our lives is ourselves. Right, Marianne? And I could tell you because when we had the Jumpstart event and Larry, did that, he did a little 5-minute exercise. He said, think about who the most negative person in your life is. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's my Aunt B. She's like always, you think that's funny, right, Geraldine? I talk about this a lot. I love my Aunt B, but she's just like one of these, oh, if it's gonna go wrong, it'll go wrong. And I'm like, I hope Larry calls on me because I'm gonna tell him it's my Aunt B. And then when he laid it on us, he's like, the most negative person in your life is you. I was like, oh my God, you're right. I beat myself over the head. I have, and I'm like everyone else. I have limiting beliefs. Sometimes I wake up and I say, oh my God, what did I get into? Why did I, spend all that money on that stupid program? Uh, so Larry goes home and he sends me a text of a picture of him standing next to Catherine. So Catherine is like half his size. I mean, he looks like a giant next to her. And he's like, look at me, I look like a monster. So it was funny because I texted him, I said, who's the most negative person in your life, Larry? He's looking at the picture like he's a monster. I was like, I didn't see, only he saw that. So, if you want to become a CFO, and I believe this with anything, whatever you want to do, the only one that's going to stop you really is you. I don't care what your current situation is. You could tell me, and I'll find somebody that was in a much worse situation. Uh, I know the woman that wrote Harry Potter, billionaire now. Do you know that she was homeless when she started writing Harry Potter? She was broke and homeless. Now she's a billionaire. So not that everybody's going to be, writing Harry Potter books, but anything is possible. I truly believe that. And all you got to do is take control. All you got to do is make a decision. And this is how you do it. You plan. You don't just all of a sudden get up and say, oh, well, yeah, this is what you do. You get up tomorrow and you say, you know what? I'm gonna become a CFO. But then you start putting the steps in place. When I was 17, I decided I was going to become a CPA. I didn't even know what a CPA did. But what my father said was CPAs run businesses. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to run businesses. So then I found out, okay, what do I got to do to become a CPA? Oh, I needed a 4-year degree. Okay, well, I couldn't afford a 4-year college, so I went to a 2-year college. And little by little, I mean, it took me 10 years, but I reached my goal. So I was in a meeting today with Larry, and a lot of these things that we set out to do, you could look at it one of two ways. You could say, that's too big, I'm never going to do it. Or you could do what I just said. You take it in little steps. And there's a thing, people talk about this, it sounds disgusting, but it's the truth. How do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? Doesn't sound too delicious, right, Geraldine? You eat it one bite at a time. One bite at a time. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody go out there and eat an elephant. But how about a pig? How about a roast pig? That's pretty big, right? That's delicious. You eat it one bite at a time. And all you got to do is say, you know what? I'm tired of where I am. I want to secure my freedom. Okay. Nobody can be free unless you're financially free. Nobody can be truly free unless you have enough money to do what you want to do when you want to do it. There's a book I highly recommend. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. It's about 100 pages. It's a very simple read. And basically what the author says is there's enough abundance out there for everybody to be rich. And all you really have to do is think riches. It's the power of positive thinking. And there's been a million books written about the same topic, but it all comes down to one thing, your mindset. If you believe you can do it, you can do it. If you don't believe you can do it, don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time. If you're surrounded by people that are going to say, oh, that's stupid, you're never going to do it, don't listen to them. If you could eliminate them from your life, eliminate them. Okay? But if you believe you can do it, then you can do it. At least you have to try. Now, we're going to do a deep dive course. Okay? We're going to cover all of the different skills and experience that will help you become a CFO. Okay? You will get a certificate which will hold weight. Okay? Any certificates that you get, Marianne, can you unmute yourself for a second? Because you're the expert on LinkedIn profiles, right?
Yeah, what's the question, Joe? Sorry.
About putting up your credentials. Now, I know when we were doing the enrolled agent thing, you put down on your LinkedIn profile that you were an enrolled agent trained,
Yes.
and you got traction from that, right?
Yes, I have get a client, a referral to enroll agent. Yeah, for just putting enroll agent trainee.
Yeah. So you get a certificate that you completed a CFO course. Even if you're not going for a CFO position, people are going to say, "Oh my God." You know, what people want are people that have capacity, the desire to learn. Okay? If you go for a job or a client that wants to hold you down, you don't want that job. You want a job that you can grow in. Okay? So we're launching this. It's only going to be three days, November 15th, the 22nd, and the 6th. We have other courses. Right now, we have self-paced courses. So they're up there forever. You don't have to worry about coming to a live class. You'll get your certificate. And actually, what we're going to start doing, because I met with our marketing team today, we're going to start having open discussions every week for anybody that's taken any one of our courses, for people that just have questions about the courses. We have another free webinar. What happens is a lot of students come to me with clients, and they say, "Hey, can you help me out with this client?" Well, a lot of them don't realize that you could make money by partnering with us. Students in the past have looked at Bedrock as, oh, I don't want to send my client to them because they're going to take them and do bookkeeping. We don't want to do bookkeeping. We do the books out of necessity, because a lot of our clients are too small to have a bookkeeper. So it's just like, well, we can't do the tax returns without bookkeeping. But what we started to do was ask the clients who's doing the bookkeeping, because now what we do is we present it as tax consulting services. So instead of, putting it out there as a CFO service, which includes accounting and bookkeeping, We're trying to get them to hire their bookkeepers. Because to be honest with you, that's the hardest part of what we do. So we're looking for people that have clients that are already doing the bookkeeping and accounting work, and we would partner with you. I know Malona has done it. She did a testimonial for us. And when she partnered with us, she learned a lot about real estate accounting. And she learned more about taxes. Okay, so we're gonna do a free webinar on that. And now I've been talking for a couple of weeks now about the Jumpstart relaunch. Okay, and I shared it with a couple of people that are our premium members. And what we've done is we listen to the members. We've been doing this for about 9 months now. We've been doing webinars every Saturday morning. We've had, great attendance. Larry Broughton, Cap Hernandez, Jonathan Ruiz did presentations last week. Jack Cantos shared with us. And we're offering a lot more going forward. We're offering a lot more free tools and resources. We're putting together more free courses. We're actually going to launch a bookkeeping for beginners, because some people like Agnes and Rona, even though they were at high levels in their positions, they never did accounting using like QuickBooks or Xero or Zoho. So we're going to teach those courses, and I plan on teaching them for free. The other announcement, which I haven't made this public, but I'm going to make it public now. If you take a picture, whatever you do, if you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to a landing page. And we're repricing the premium membership from $18 a month down to $3 a month. Less than what people pay for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Okay. In addition, any courses that we give starting January 1st are gonna be 50% off. Okay, I wanted to start November 1st, but we already have a bunch of people that signed up for the next batches. I hope that doesn't stop people from signing up for the courses that are coming up. If there's an issue with that, just book a chat with me, time with Joe, and we'll talk about it. But I honestly, I'm proud of my team, because they've been, without them, we wouldn't have a Jumpstart community, and we want to help people jumpstart their accounting freelance career. Can't make it clearer. So like I said in the beginning, who is it for? It's for people like my mother, who had absolutely no experience, all the way up to, people like Juliet that already have a successful agency. So I think that's it. And our YouTube channel. So now, we've had this for a while, and I just recently converted it just to focus on the Jumpstart community. Before it was a mixture of, taxes for small businesses, and it was confusing. But now the YouTube channel is going to be specifically for Philippine freelancers. And this playlist right here is a series of interviews that I did with Coach Yan Yan on LinkedIn. It started out as, how do you optimize your LinkedIn profile? And then we wound up doing a deep dive into, how do you actually land clients on LinkedIn? Okay, and as always, I make myself available to anyone that wants to talk about their freelance career, anything that has to do with business. I'm not going to talk to you about the relationships with your children or your marriage or anything. Yeah, that I can't help you with. But I can help you with your relationships with your problem clients. Okay? Or clients that you want to get. Okay? It's not about, partnering with me, but if you just want to know, listen, I got this client and this is what do I do? I've had a number of students, call me about that. So just go to timewithjoe.com, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. God bless. Are there any questions? Any questions, comments? You can ask your questions in Tagalog, and then Eileen will translate for me, or you could put them in the chat. You're welcome, Juliet, anytime. Okay. So this is I don't know if this is a question or a comment. Yes, thank you for that comment. Okay, Jamal, okay, I'll share hey, Glenn, good to see you. Thank you for showing up. Somebody asked to share the QR code. That's the YouTube channel. Okay, so I'll put that up. Thank you, Aletta. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Yes. Who is that? Ramondolin. Yeah. What Nick said this morning, it struck me that people from other countries oversell their skills. I've had it happen to me so many times that people tell me that they can do things that they can't do, which is kind of stupid because you can't lie in accounting. You, I mean, you can't lie about what you're capable of. When somebody tells me, yeah, they know QuickBooks, and I go in there and they can't even do a bank rack, you know, with the Philippine culture, it's the opposite. You totally undersell yourselves. And I see that happen too many times. And it upsets me. It upsets me. Because I've seen people with so much skill and just lack the confidence. Just lack the confidence. All you need to do is be truthful. That's what, when we hire people, we look for a couple of things. Not necessarily experience. Okay. What's more important to us is capacity, the desire to learn, the ability to communicate. And when I say that, I mean ask questions. When somebody applies to a job with us, if they don't ask me any questions, they're not getting a position. Okay. It could be a question like, what made you get into this business? Or more appropriate, like, you know, who will I be working with and what will my actual duties be? You know, it could be anything, but you can't get a client, you can't get a position without asking that person questions. And I could tell you right now, American people love when you ask them about themselves. Okay. And when they start telling you their life story or how they got into the business, you're in. You're in. You just be quiet, you listen to them. Because what are they doing, Marianne? What are they doing? You told me this. They're telling you their pain, right?
In point. Yes.
They're telling you their pain points. So, all right. So okay, let me just make sure. Okay. All right, this has been great. I want to thank you all for staying. We started with like 68 and we still got 59 here. That means that I didn't scare that many people away. So, Eileen, are you here? You want to end with a prayer?
Sure. Okay, everybody. Dear Lord, we thank you for being with us during this meeting. As we conclude, we ask for your continued guidance and wisdom as we go about our days. Bless, please bless each person here and keep us safe until we meet again. Amen.
Amen.
And
Thank you, everyone.
yes,
God bless.
picture taking,
And,
Joe.
Sure.
I forgot. We're the
Ah, yes,
country of pictures.
yes, picture. Everybody, open up your camera and give a smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile again. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe and team.
Thank you, Coach Yan.